Hello and welcome to On the Turf, hosted by three guys who have never been on the turf. My name is Arjun Ryan.
I'm Sreeman
And I'm
And it does feel good, and it feels like getting back to basics. That now it's me, Rohan, Shree. Obviously, Camille can join us this week. Bills are off to a 2-0 start, though. But we do have two guests joining us, as will be tradition for this season of On the Turf, getting more guests on. But you want to intro our guest for us today?
Yeah, I brought on two of my friends from my college. You guys want to introduce yourselves?
Yeah, I'm Aarav Panini.
I'm Sreeman.
And we're all Steelers fans. So
Yes, we are.
we're excited to glaze the Steelers today. Honestly, as much hate as we've gotten for making this a Steelers podcast, we honestly haven't talked about them a lot. I feel like
we've talked about them too much.
You missed that episode. You did miss that episode.
Oh, I did miss the episode.
Yeah.
Okay. So, the last few times I've been on here, we haven't been talking about it. So today we'll definitely make sure we talk about them. But
yeah. The Steelers are off to a 2-0 start. A lot of interesting 2-0 starts in the league. Steelers one of them. The New Orleans Saints, the Los Angeles Chargers, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. A lot of teams 2-0.
Shree's
Vikings, Sam Darnold.
Sam Darnold.
And you got teams like the Baltimore Ravens. I don't even know if this is surprising. The Bengals are 0-2, but that's kind of their thing at this point. A lot of contending teams, the Rams, that we expected to, not doing so hot right now, but as is tradition with the early season. But speaking of the NFC West and the Niners, Shree, I understand you have some rapid-fire questions for us to get started for today before we get into a host of great Week 3 games. Let's start off with that, why don't we?
Yeah, I always thought rapid fire at the end was amazing, but I just want to start this off at the beginning. And Rohan, this question is honestly geared towards you specifically. So, I was watching some other podcasts and they were talking about CMC's value in fantasy. So Rohan, and you have CMC on the Turf Fantasy League. So
I'm in two leagues.
Two
I'm in
leagues.
two separate leagues.
2 leagues. Okay.
Yeah, I had the first overall pick in 2 leagues, and I got.
But yeah, I'm gonna pose you a couple hypotheticals, and you're just gonna say, would you trade CMC if you were offered these players right now, just a 1-for-1?
Okay.
Or how, in what situation you would consider them? Would it be you would have to package them with a wide receiver 2, or some other combination like that? Okay. So if I had Kyren Williams and I traded Kyren Williams to you right now for CMC, would you do that? Because CMC is on IR.
Yeah. I would not. I think Kyren has a very low ceiling now, considering that this Rams offense does not look good. No Cooper Kupp, no Puka Nacua. Some might say that means Kyren's gonna get more work. That may be true, but there's less touchdowns involved. I don't like it. I wouldn't take Kyren.
Yeah, honestly, agree. He's been so inefficient. Recently, I don't know if it's 2.5 yards a carry or maybe 2.5 points per something, but super inefficient. What about Josh Jacobs?
Josh Jacobs, yes, 100%.
Okay.
Josh Jacobs looks amazing. This Packers offense loves the run game, especially with Malik Willis at quarterback. He looks great.
Jordan Love's coming back, apparently.
Yeah.
Sreeman, Aarav, what do you guys think of James Cook for CMC?
I have James Cook right now in our fantasy league. It's the best feeling right now. He gets so many touchdowns, so much volume, and I don't think it's stopping anytime. If I was Rohan, I'd give him. I wouldn't give him James Cook for CMC.
I would take James Cook happily. I would take him happily. He looks great right now. Bills also like to run the ball. He's a pass catcher too. Does everything.
Sorry. No, you're good.
Honestly, I guess the way this conversation is going, and we got a little hot take, and I'm not trading CMC for James Cook. I'm not. Well, I wouldn't just because of the value that CMC has. When he comes back, I think that you see the production their running back 2 is getting right now in taking in CMC's plays. So when he gets back, I'm sticking with whatever running back I have right now in fantasy and waiting for CMC to come back and tear up the turf.
I agree. I'm just 0-2 in both of these leagues. I need a win now. I'm really down bad for a win.
You got to get the value back somehow.
You might be in a little different predicament. You might have to trade away.
I might need it.
But yeah.
But Rohan, what about Derrick Henry? If I traded you Derrick Henry right now.
I got offered this, actually. I got offered Derrick Henry for CMC straight up. I said no. Henry just doesn't have the same burst anymore. I think he's very touchdown dependent. Doesn't catch any passes either. I just don't. I don't even draft Derrick Henry. Forget it. I don't want Derrick Henry on my team anyway. I think it's a hard pass. If you package a good receiver in, maybe.
The Ravens' offensive line is cooked.
Yes, they really are. They really are. And they haven't made up for Patrick Queen either, which is so awesome to say that as a Pittsburgh Steeler, right?
Look, man, I was the biggest Patrick Queen hater for 4 years.
But the Ravens definitely haven't made up for it.
Yeah, and now he's a stud on our team. Let's see, Sreeman, what about Jonathan Taylor?
Jonathan Taylor.
I think this is a tough one. I'm a KT owner myself.
This is a tough one. I'd say no right now, just because the Colts offense looks so inconsistent.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Anthony Richardson is so mistake prone. I mean, he's got 4 picks in 2 weeks, and it's like I don't know what I'm getting from him. He's like a raw product. He doesn't really have that veteran presence in front of him. So like I don't know how long the Colts are going to keep the ball the entire game. They're going to be playing from behind a lot. They're going to have to throw it a lot. So like I don't think Jonathan Taylor is getting the volume he deserves. So I'd keep CMC.
Last week, the Packers had a 43-minute time of possession. I think the Colts had like 18 minutes, something like 17, 18 minutes.
That's absolutely insane.
So,
sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Drew.
Well, Aarav, what about Jahmyr Gibbs?
Okay, I'm a really big Jahmyr Gibbs glazer, but I'm still not trading for CMC. I'm still running with I think that like they split a lot of carries between him and David Montgomery. So I think that the volume that they're getting on both sides of those running backs, I don't think it's worth it for giving up CMC.
So, Aarav, who would you trade for? Because you don't seem to want to trade CMC. So what running backs do you think you would trade for CMC?
So if it was a running back, I think for running back purposes only, I'm not sure if there's like really anyone in the league right now.
Really?
Bijan, Brees?
If I get Bijan, Saquon, or Brees Hall, you wouldn't give me CMC?
Okay, if we go to those 3, I think that like that's probably the biggest. If you package that with maybe even like a wide receiver 3, then I'd take it. But
I'm taking that straight up.
Someone's offering me that. I'm running that to the bank.
Bijan Robinson.
They're saying it.
Okay, because of the fact that I still have yet to see what I like, especially just for Bijan particularly, I'm still yet to see like what I want to see from the Atlanta Falcons offense. So I think like if you give me like another week of consistency that they showed in against the Eagles, especially in that last late game drive with Kirk Cousins doing what they did. I know they didn't incorporate Bijan in there, but like just the efficiency of the offense in general. If you give me one more week and showing that, then yeah, maybe I would take it. I would probably take Bijan straight up. But then if you go that point, then it's like you only have 2 more weeks left in CMC's IR.
Well, CMC they're saying is 6 weeks maybe.
Yeah, 6 weeks out.
Sorry.
You're good.
Then I would probably take Bijan straight up if I saw 1 more week of consistency. And then I think the same logic applies to Saquon too.
Yeah, I think my bar is a lot lower. I've gotten 8 points from DeAndre Swift and Jerome Ford. I need a running back, bro. Someone
CMC served me well last year, carried me to the championship, so my bar is pretty high up there.
All right, so I got three more rapid fires. Just everyone, just quick answers, no explanation needed. Who's taking the division in the NFC South right now? If you were to pick, who are you taking? Like Bucks or Saints? I think that's what we're looking at, right?
Hey, the Falcons. What about the Falcons?
Oh yeah, sorry, Falcons too. My bad.
I picked the Falcons to win this division. I had it pretty close. I think I had them at 9-8. I'm gonna go with the Bucks right now. I really like the way Baker Mayfield is playing. I think that division, I'm gonna take the best quarterback who's playing the best right now. I think Baker over the last, end of last season to now, is playing like the best quarterback in that division. I like the Saints a lot. I'm willing to be convinced on them, especially after this game in Philadelphia. Sorry, I know you said no explanation.
Yeah, there you go.
All I'll say is he's the best quarterback. That's why I'm taking the Saints. Derek Carr is elite right now.
I'm taking the Saints.
Oh, yeah, Buccaneers.
The Buccaneers. Yeah, I'm taking the Saints personally.
No Falcons picks is crazy.
I think all of us had picked the Falcons 3 weeks ago.
I picked the Saints. I picked the Saints.
That was an accident. You wanted to change
No.
that. The next question is yes or no. Are the Chiefs really AFC contenders?
What kind of question is this? Of course they are. They won the Super Bowl the past 2 years.
They're winning the Super Bowl again, too.
I mean, to be honest, like the reason why I asked this is I know they're 2-0, but they don't look as comfortable.
It's
really,
Patrick Mahomes.
I know.
Tree. Look, I'm going to caution you against this because we were in this exact same position, not only last year, but at the end of last year, right before the playoffs. We're like, the Chiefs look really bad right now. What'd they do? They won the Super Bowl. So
you guys think? I guess let me rephrase. Do you guys think they will make the Super Bowl this year?
I think they're winning the Super Bowl.
Oh, you think they're winning the Super Bowl?
No, I don't think they make it.
I don't know if they'll make it. I really like the way the Texans are playing right now.
That's what I'm with too. And finally, if you were to name one sneaky wildcard contender from each conference, who are you going with?
All right, I'll go first. NFC, give me the Cardinals. Cardinals looked electric last week. I think they get in a lot of shootouts this year. I think they can win a few games, sneak into the wild card, cause some chaos in the playoffs. AFC, I would say, give me the. Oh man, I hate to do this. Give me the Steelers, man.
They're not sneaky. Yeah! Wait, I don't know if they're actually that sneaky though.
I think they're sneaky because
they were a playoff team last year.
They're a playoff team, but I don't think that people expect them to like. I don't know. I think they're gonna make more waves than you would assume. I think their defense looks really, really good, really electric. And offensively, Justin Fields, Russell Wilson is an upgrade over Kenny Pickett. I think they can make some noise.
All right, I actually have a very sneaky pick, one that I was not expecting to make at all. Well, I'll start in the NFC because I think my AFC one is a little spicier of a take. NFC, I will say the Minnesota Vikings. I think Kevin O'Connell is an exceptional coach. I would say he's pushing for a top 5 coach right now, in my opinion. This dude knows what to do with quarterbacks. He's shown it time and time again. Sam Darnold is playing really good right now. That defense is playing really good right now. Justin Jefferson can stay healthy. I think this team can make some noise, especially with the Bears looking the way they are. In the AFC, I'm going to say the New England Patriots.
Oh.
Look, what we've seen this year is that offense does not rule the game. Defense, good coaching, and efficiency does. The Patriots have an identity, and they have a way to win right now. They took the Seahawks, who I think are a pretty good team, to overtime and look pretty good in it. They're playing with good run game. They're playing exceptional defense. And they're just a really well-coached unit who knows who they are right now. I think they can peel off some wins, maybe making it 9 wins. Wouldn't expect it to happen, but talking sneaky, maybe they could.
All right. You guys want to go?
Yeah, I'll go first. I think that I'm going to take the Cardinals as well for my NFC pick, just because looking into this season, I think that no one thought they were going to be as good as they are right now, or as good as they're looking. Just with the Vikings, why I'm not taking the Vikings is because they're looking so good right now, and that I don't think it's sneaky anymore. I think the Cardinals still have a little bit of question, but I think that question will get answered as the season goes on. And I also think I'm going to rock with the Steelers for the sneaky wildcard pick. I know you might not think it's that sneaky, but everyone was saying we're going to go 8-9 at the beginning of the season, so I'm taking the Steelers.
We're good. Yeah, let's get 9 wins.
Yeah, no, but I'm actually making the playoffs, I think, and that's not always given with you guys.
So for my NFC pick, I'm with Arjun on this one. I mean, they were projected last in their division, basically by everyone. Everyone's like, oh, the Bears are going to explode this year with 3 good receivers, Caleb Williams. They're like the Lions are going to dominate and the Packers are going to dominate. I think a lot of people put the Vikings to be last in their division. They came out, they beat the Niners. They did what they had to do. Sam Darnold looks amazing in the best system he's had as like a quarterback in his 7 years. I got to pick the Vikings to sneak in as a wild card, maybe even contend for the division.
I'm loving
Jordan Love's coming back, brother. Jordan Love's coming back.
Let's give it to like week 7 until the Sam Darnold wheels.
He might have to deal fall, but I see this going to like a week 17, week 18 division race.
Yeah,
not like Lions win in week 15 and clinch it.
Yeah.
For my AFC, I don't know if it's really sneaky anymore, but I'll go with the Jets, just because I feel like once they find their stride, once they find their rhythm, they have the best defense out of all these sneaky teams other than the Steelers. But I think the Steelers' offense isn't consistent enough, and I feel like the Jets will find that.
Yeah,
I want to hear yours.
Steelers Vikings. No, I mean, I the thing with the NFC
is the Carolina Panthers.
Red Rifle's gonna bring him back.
I mean, my thing is just, I don't know if it's really sneaky or not anymore, but I was gonna say either like the Vikings or Seahawks. I think the Rams being injured for with all of their offense out, took out one of the wild cards that I thought was actually gonna clinch the wild card pretty comfortably. So I think the Seahawks are gonna probably take that spot. I think I'm also in agreement with Aarav that the Vikings are. I don't see how much farther we can go from here. I think we pretty much hit our peak, which is terrible to say, but
they beat the NFC champs.
Yeah,
your peak is beating the Niners.
I know. So then that's pretty great. So I don't know how sustainable it is, but I think a good answer to this question is probably the Seahawks. because again, I feel like they're not necessarily, they're always underrated every single year for some reason. And I think it's just because the Niners and the Rams are in that division. And I think them making it to the wild card is a pretty safe bet just because their offense is amazing and their defense always goes underrated every single year. The secondary is amazing. And I really like what Geno Smith has with DK Metcalf. But
yeah, actually, sorry, I'm going to interrupt. I think the Seahawks, I'm going to change my answer. I think the Seahawks are mine. I don't even think they're a wild card contender. I think they can win this division. I think JSN's finally come on. Geno Smith, like a 70% completion rate over the past 3 years or something like that. And I really like this new offense, and the defense is finally performing to its talent. We're going to start with the team we just talked about. The Houston Texans are coming to Minnesota to face off against Sam Darnold, the Vikings. I think all of us would agree the Texans look just as good as we probably expect them to be. That defense is really good. Even if they weren't able to put up, I think they put up 19 points against a pretty good Bears defense. CJ Stroud, one of the early MVP candidates, playing just as well as we thought he would. The Vikings are the real surprise here. Diggs' revenge game against Minnesota. Jefferson suffered an injury last week. He should be playing. Mixon suffered an injury last week. May not play. But right now, I think this game really starts in the trenches. I think Minnesota leads the league in sacks right now. Can C.J. Stroud stay in the pocket, deliver to his receivers? On the other side, Will Anderson, Danielle Hunter, maybe one of the best pass rush duos in the league right now. Sam Darnold has really struggled under pressure in his career. That's been his main flaw. He makes mistakes when he's under pressure. So far, he's been pretty well protected. Can the offensive line for Minnesota stand up against them? And can they, keep pace with this Texans offense that's going to score points? Trey, I'll start with you. You're a Vikings fan, but also picked the Texans to go to the Super Bowl, I believe. What do you see in this game? Do you think the Minnesota Miracle Tour ends here?
Yeah, I honestly think it does, unfortunately. I just feel like the Vikings I just want them to keep surprising me every single game, and that would be a way better feeling than, anything else in the world. But, for me, I just think, I don't know how long it can hold up. I genuinely think that if it's a game in the trenches and the offenses can't get it working, I believe CJ Stroud over Sam Darnold in an ugly game. Because in an ugly game where the defenses are going to show out, I don't trust Sam Darnold yet. And the first two games, he's been comfortable in the pocket. He's had his weapons. He's done everything that he needed to do. But I haven't seen amazing flashes running out of the pocket or anything like that. And I think the Texans defense brings a new element that the other defenses just didn't do. I know the 49ers defense was great, but Sam Darnold also played an amazing game. And I don't know. It's just a gut feeling. But I just trust CJ Stroud in an ugly game over Sam Darnold, and that's why I'm taking the Texans. I'll make it pretty quick, probably 23-20, a close game.
All right, let's do quick predictions, Sreeman.
I'm going Vikings.
I like that.
So I think many people forget that Justin Jefferson was hurt for a majority of that Niners game, and his wide receiver core had wide receiver one as Jordan Addison, and he still managed to go out there and win that.
No, Addison wasn't even hurt. Yeah,
Jalen Naylor. Was he out too?
Yeah, Jalen Naylor caught the touchdown.
And that went out, and he went out there and beat the reigning NFC champions.
Yeah.
Obviously, I know that they're hurt, but for a majority of that game, they had Kittle, they had Debo, and I think the way that he was able to manage that game, they're at home again. Texans offense, yes, they've shown flashes of that they have the potential to be there, but one, I don't think they're incorporating their weapons well enough, because right now Tank Dell is not getting anything. Stephon Diggs is getting a decent amount, and Nico Collins is getting he's getting majority of the share. I think what we're going to see this week is going to be more of a high-scoring game, and I think the Vikings pull away at the end. So I'm going to give it 31-24 Vikings.
All right, what about you? Just the score?
Yeah, just a score. I'm taking the Texans. I'll probably say 20-17. I think that I think it's going to be a relatively mid-scoring game. I think that the defenses are going to – right now defenses are carrying the NFL with the too high safety look, and I think that's going to be breaking that down is going to be something that's going to rely on the quarterback. And like Shree said, I trust CJ Stroud more than I do with Sam Darnold in a dogfight. So
yeah, I'm going to echo that. I'll go Texans 23-17.
Yeah, I'll take Texans 30-17. Aaron Jones banged up, Jefferson banged up, Addison banged up. I don't see where the Vikings produce offense from this game.
All right, next let's move to. We have 4 Steeler fans on this podcast right now. We gotta talk about the Steelers. Yeah. This might be the ugliest football game ever committed on a turf. Chargers versus Steelers. Both 2-0 teams, both ugly teams in terms of the way they play football. But you have Justin Herbert and the Chargers coming to Heinz Field. Yes, it's still called Heinz Field. Face off against Justin Fields and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Sreeman and Aarav, let's start with Sreeman. I'm going to turn it over to you guys. What do you guys see for the Steelers in this game? Do you think they can pull off the win to get to 3-0 against a very well-coached Chargers team?
I think our offensive line finally learns how to block without grabbing the defensive lineman, especially Broderick Jones. I mean, it is absurd how many plays are getting called back from penalties. The amount of points been taken off the board from this, George Pickens' touchdown. He had 2 touchdowns almost taken away. And Justin Fields has had over 100 yards taken away from him from honestly just stupid penalties that have nothing to do with the play at all. The play design's great. The throws are great. They're all there. And really, to challenge George Pickens, I think the problem is Justin Fields, the thing he's improved on this year is getting the ball out quick. He's whenever he's released it in under 2.5 seconds, he's been perfect. So even with that fast Chargers pass rush with Joey Bosa, Khalil Mack, I think this is a game Justin finally has the offense explode. This is where Pickens explodes. This is where our dual-headed running backs explode. And honestly, this defense has been they've been stellar throughout the first 2 weeks. And Justin Herbert, he hasn't had that big game yet because J.K. Dobbins has done so well. And honestly, J.K. Dobbins always does really well against the Steelers for some reason. So I think this is going to be Steelers give up a lot of yards, but stop them from getting touchdowns and stop them to field goals. So I'll take the Steelers on this.
Yeah, I completely echo pretty much everything Sreeman said. I think my only thing though is I actually think the pass rush will really get to Justin Herbert from the Steelers end. I know Joe Alt, much credit to him. Honestly, he should be
he's over right now in my eyes.
For offensive rookie of the year. He is insane. That's what I'm most excited for in this game. Not the quarterbacks, not the running backs, but TJ Watt versus Joe Alt. That matchup, is insane if you think about it. You got one best in the league versus probably the best rookie offensive tackle that we've probably seen for a long time. This man put who was it?
Max Crosby.
Max Crosby to what? 0 pressures or 0 sacks for sure, and barely any pressures. And I think that's where the game starts. But I don't trust Justin Herbert and his weapons against a really good Pittsburgh secondary. We haven't allowed that many touchdowns through the air, and we've kept every single defense under 20 points in all of our games, just like the classic Steelers do. So I'm taking the Steelers. Probably a low-scoring game again. I'll go 16-13.
Yeah, I'm going to rock with the Steelers. It's going to be a dogfight, to be honest. Again, I mean, it's Steelers football. We're at Heinz Field. What do you expect? I think that we do see a low-scoring game. I'm going to echo that. I don't know if the offenses are going to explode because of the fact that how good the defenses on both sides are, and both sides can be. I mean, Jim Harbaugh is a defensive-minded coach, along with a pound ground run game and being able to set up his quarterback for good positions. And I think that we echo that with Arthur Smith on the other side of the field. So I think that we're going to see a low-scoring game. I think I'm going to take the Steelers 19-13 in the dogfight game. And if it's a dogfight, then I'm taking the Steelers every day of the week.
I'm also going to take the Steelers here. Not a homer take. Not a homer take. Listen to this. All right. 1, the Chargers. Look, I like the Chargers a lot. I think the Chargers are going to be a playoff team this year. I think what we're seeing with the Chargers is a little bit of fool's gold right now. They played the Panthers last week, and the Panthers had, less than 100 yards of offense, I think. I think the Chargers are the less talented team here. The Steelers' defense is flying around. This is the best Steelers' defense I've seen in years. I really like what the Chargers are doing up front. I think Joe Alt and Rashawn Slater, their 2 tackles, were the highest-graded PFF tackles in Week 2, and rightfully so. They're very good. But I'm sorry. I'm taking Trent Jordan Watt. He's going to beat them. And I don't care. Joe Alt's probably about to have his welcome to the NFL moment because he's about to play the best defensive player in the generation.
Oh, my God. His brother was better.
Please stop. All right.
Are you outside of your mind? J.J. Watt was better than T.J.
Look, we're talking about the game. We're on the clock here, Ron.
What does this take?
It's okay, Ron. You'll have the turn. You'll have your turn.
Second thing, the Steelers are the Chargers rather offensive coordinator Greg Roman. Where has he been for the past 4 years? On the Ravens. Whenever the Ravens offense has played the Steelers, even in their heyday, The Steelers defense owns this Ravens offense, and they're going to own them again with a less talented supporting cast. Give me the Steelers, 17-14, absolute barn burner game.
No, I got to do it. I'm picking the Chargers.
Oh my God.
Just a hater, bro. Literally just a hater.
Listen. The way that Mike Tomlin beats teams is by out-coaching them and outplaying them on defense, and Jim Harbaugh can do that better. He can out-coach this team. He can out-coach Mike Tomlin, I think. He has an identity. He's brought this isn't the same old Chargers. This Chargers team has an identity. They run the ball. They play physical. They look for opportunities in the passing game. Their defense is great. I think Justin Fields gets pressured a lot. I think he makes a few costly mistakes that Justin Herbert doesn't make because of pressure. And I think that's going to be the key to the game for the Chargers. They win 16-13.
All right, now let's move on quickly to one of Rohan's team, the Lions versus the Cardinals. Arizona, Marvin Harrison Jr., 41 points last week from the team. Marvin Harrison Jr., 2 touchdowns, I think 130 some odd yards. We can go quickly on this one. 2 great offenses, 2 somewhat middling defenses, even though I think the Lions defense played really well last week. Aiden Hutchinson, 5 sacks in a loss. Pretty impressive TJ Watt-like performance from Aiden Hutchinson. But Rohan, I'll turn it over to you. What do you think is honestly going to happen in this game? This is a pretty tough team you're facing, but the team I thought would be the best team in the NFC at the end of the year.
Listen, this Lions team has flaws. I think they've been beaten through the air in both games so far. Chris Godwin over 100 yards, Cooper Kupp over 100 yards. There's flaws in this team, and I think Marvin Harrison can exploit that. I think if we're trying to get into the game as sort of a possession receiver this time around instead of just a deep threat, he can do some damage. I think our offense is electric. We're a threat at every single level, a threat running the ball, passing the ball. Defensively, we had a great game last week, but I'm putting that more on the fact that the Rams are super banged up. I fear that the Lions can run all over us, and they might run all over us with this offensive line and run game, but I don't know, man. I don't know. Give me the Cardinals. Give me the Cardinals. I just think Kyler Murray's a better quarterback than Jared Goff right now. If it comes down to it, I'm taking Kyler Murray for a last-minute drive. We'll say 33-30. Cardinals win on a last-minute field goal by Matt Prater.
I don't want to hate on the Cardinals here too much. I like what they're doing on offense. The Lions are going to get it right in this game. I think you called it out. This run game, David Montgomery is going to control the hell out of this game. This offensive line is going to get to work. Look, I think Kyler's doing some really special things. I think Kyler's going to have a career year. I don't think Kyler's going to get the ball that much in this game. I think the Lions are going to control the time of possession, maybe force the Cardinals into a mistake here or there, and win this game. I'm going to take the Lions 30-23.
Yeah, honestly, basically the same thing as Arjun, so I'll just say the score. I'll just go like 27-20.
Yeah, I'm going to actually say again, I echo the same sentiments as Arjun. Sorry, Roman. I'm going to go 26.
Oh, that's okay. That's the right pick.
I'm with Rohan on this.
Oh, let's go.
Kyler Murray is playing out of his mind. I mean, why is he Steph Currying touchdowns? Like
you saw that clip.
Turning around, like the dude's confidence is off the charts. Now Marvin Harrison Jr. is getting going. This team is like people. I don't know. This team is scary because they got Trey McBride, who's really underrated, and they have like a supporting cast. James Conner, like no one expects James Conner to do good anymore. Like they think like after he left from Pittsburgh, like he's like no, he is still solid. He is a red zone demon, and this Lions defense has been exploited. I mean, Baker Mayfield looked like Baker Mayfield looked amazing against them last week, and like. I'm going with the Cardinals on this one, and I think they get like a comfortable win. I think they go 30-20 Cardinals.
Wow, let's go. I love this guy.
It's gonna be panic in Detroit after that. All right, let's move to something I could not be more excited to talk about. The Baltimore Ravens are 0-2, and it is really a blessed week. Just amazing things you love to see. They're 0-2. The Dallas Cowboys got their ass handed to them last week by the New Orleans Saints in their house at AT&T Stadium. Both these teams coming off very disappointing week twos. Sreeman, I'll turn it over to you first. Ravens, Cowboys, what do you see as the keys to this game, and who do you think is going to come on top?
Honestly, it's a win-win for anyone because if the Ravens lose, they're 0-3, and the Cowboys lose, they're 1-2. So, I'll take either one. But the keys to this game, I think what we saw from the Cowboys week 1 is what we need to see again week 3. Because week 1, what they did is they established a lead, and then they started to slow the game down to their pace. And that's when they were going to put Cleveland out of the game, and they let their defense control and that's when Michael Parsons, Trayvon Diggs, that's when they force the opposing quarterback to make mistakes. The thing with the Ravens is they start off fast. They have these like fast starts that they had against, or like they started off with like a lead against the Raiders. They were in control of it. And then right when they got behind, they got flustered. And that's when Gardner Minshew was able to take over and he got them the win. So I think the key to this game for what the Cowboys need to do is establish your rhythm early, make sure you like play a mistake-free type of football, establish that lead, and that'll get you the key to the game. I think, is it in Dallas?
It's I think in Dallas, yeah.
It's in Dallas. It's a really hard take to take the Ravens to start 0-3, but I just think what just happened to the Cowboys last week, like a 25-point blowout, it should wake them up, and I'm going to take the Cowboys.
You want to go?
Yeah, sure. I'll go next. Honestly, I'm going to echo the sentiments of Sreeman in that, look, the Cowboys defense cannot play from behind. Like, they're just not built from playing from behind. If they're down, if they take a lead down, then basically, honestly, hand the game over to the other person. And I think that's what the Ravens need to do. But what the Ravens didn't do last week was use Derrick Henry in the fourth quarter. Like, they brought him over. The Ravens have always been, like, somewhat mid in terms of closing out games. And they brought Derrick Henry over because he was the best closer in the league. And they're not using him as a closer. So, like, if they establish a lead and they get into the fourth quarter, I need to see them use Derrick Henry. I mean, actually, I don't want them to. But, like, if they want to win, they need to use Derrick Henry in the fourth quarter. I will give it to the Ravens because I think they learned from their mistakes from last week. And I think they win in a 27-20 game.
Yeah, I'm not gonna go on like a huge like speech or anything. I just think the Ravens O-line is just gonna sell them, and I don't think Lamar's gonna have enough time in the pocket. So I'm just gonna take the Cowboys for that reason and trust what Dak has with CD. I'll go 30-23.
This is a rare moment. I'm gonna take the Ravens. I think the Ravens I think they had some surprise. They're a foot in an overtime game away from being 2-0 right now. This is still a team quarterback by a top 3 quarterback in the league, in my opinion, Lamar Jackson. I know I'm kind of the Lamar hater on this podcast, but I think Lamar is a magician. I think he's going to be a magician in this game. I think, all the favorables are probably going towards the Cowboys. They're at home. They have the better pass rush against this offensive line, but I'm just going to trust Lamar, trust the better quarterback. Give me the Ravens 24-20 with Lamar pulling off some last-minute heroics.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Ravens see this as more of a wake-up call than the Cowboys. I don't think they're going to get outcoached this game. I think this has been an issue consistently where they sort of lose leads late. But I don't know. I just don't think that Lamar's going to let this game get out of hand. And I think the pull off the win will say 20-17.
All right, final game of Week 3 we're going to talk about very quickly is surprising New Orleans Saints at 2-0 facing off against the Philadelphia Eagles at 1-1. The Eagles off, honestly, a Saquon Barkley catch away from being 2-0, but Kirk Cousins last minute drive, now 1-1, facing off against a Saints team who's blown the doors off their last 2 opponents. Aarav, I'll turn it over to you. What do you think is who do you think is coming out on top in this game? Can this be really the statement for the Saints to start out their season?
Look, I think the Eagles come out of this game, to be honest. I know the Saints' offense has been electric the last 2 weeks, scoring above almost 45 points pretty much each game. But I don't know. I think that the Eagles come out with some vengeance this time. It was a tough loss they had in the last week, but I think they come off. They put the ball in Saquon's hands in the run game. They establish a passing game. I know A.J. Brown's not there, but you know what? I still have confidence in that team to learn from their mistakes and get back into the win column with this game.
Yeah. As much as I'd like to take the Saints, I think if there are like a few teams that can like look to at least hold the Saints offense off, I think it's one of the Eagles defense is one of the defenses that comes to mind. I really think AJ Brown not being there isn't an issue for the Eagles. Like, I know he adds tremendous value, but they can still get it done. They can still get you 17 points, 20 points, 23 points. And I think that's going to be enough because I think the Saints team right now is very streaky. Obviously, putting up 40 points against the Cowboys is something that's amazing. And I know it's the exact same roster that's been replicated from last year, and full credit to the offensive coordinator, Clint Kubiak. But the thing is I just trust the Eagles defense. I trust the Eagles in general. and I think the Saints are still streaky. It's hard for me to have confidence in a team that didn't really do a whole lot last year, and they're 2-0 this year with 40 points. And I know it's a terrible take, but I just have confidence in the Eagles and in Jalen Hurts.
Can I jump in here? Sorry,
Yeah,
I'm itching to jump in.
Yeah.
Shree, I disagree with almost everything you said there. The Eagles' defense is garbage. The Eagles themselves are 2-9 over their last 11 games. If we're talking about the team that's hot right now, the Saints ended off last year on a hot streak. They continued that hot streak this year. I'm not as much of a believer in the Saints as everyone else is at this point, calling them a Super Bowl contender or not, but they absolutely look like the better team right now than the Eagles do. The Eagles' defense, not really improved from last year. Jordan Love was able to work on them in that first game. And, you know, Kirk Cousins, who looked like garbage in week 1, was able to put the work on them in week 2. A.J. Brown is the best player on this Eagles offense, and he is out, and they're going to feel that loss. I think both matchups favor the Saints. Clint Kubiak is working some magic here with the Saints roster, and that defense is still very stout. These are two coaches I thought were going to get fired by the end of this year. I think one of them is going to stay and one of them is going to go, and I think it's going to be Nick Sirianni. I think the Eagles get off to a 1-2 start, and it couldn't be better to see. I'm going to take the Saints 31-28.
I don't know why you're such an Eagles hater. I want to like the Eagles, but this defense is awful. They don't generate pass rush. They don't have a good secondary. I don't know what they do well exactly. And the Saints offense looks incredibly good. Clint Kubiak, whatever he's installed here is working beautifully. I think the Saints are still just too hot right now, and I'll take them to put up like, honestly, like 34 points. I feel like 34 to 28.
All right.
But
Go ahead.
I'll keep it simple. Shree, I think you're downplaying A.J. Brown. I mean, the dude's arguably a top 8 receiver in the league. He's like, there's conversations for him being top 5, and they didn't look good last week. It's not like they came in there and like Kirk went down. Like, they did not look like a good football team. Even like, they looked good the first week. Obviously Jordan Love getting hurt and all of that, but they played an okay game. I mean, you're playing, in my opinion, the best team in the NFL right now, power ranking wise. They're the hottest team in the NFL right now. Their defense has been getting it done, pass rush, and the problem is the Eagles, they don't. So I'll take the Saints.
My whole thing about the Saints
is we're running out of time. But thank you guys so much for coming on the show, Sreeman and Aarav. Really appreciate you guys coming on. Hope you guys can come on again this season. It was great to have you guys on. We're in store for a great week 3 of the NFL season. By this time, I think Patriots Jets will already have kicked off. Make sure to check out our Instagram for picks, future episodes, and more content to come. My name is Arjun Ryan.
I'm Sri Bangkonda.
And I'm Ron Patel.
Sreeman.
I'm Sreeman.
And I'm Aarav.
And we'll see you next week on the Turf.